You know that feeling, right? Like when you just want to walk into a room and just own it, that's confidence. But sometimes, and let's be real here, it doesn't come naturally.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, I remember this one time I was supposed to speak at a workshop,
Oh, yeah.
and I was so nervous, my knees were actually shaking, like literally. It
Oh.
felt like this inner voice just took over, filled with doubts. And that whole experience really got me thinking. I wanted to understand confidence, like really get it. How does it work? Why is it such a big deal? And most importantly, how can we actually build it?
You know, it's interesting. Lots of people think confidence is something you're just born with. Like some people have it and some don't. But honestly, I think it's more about how you think, how you act, things you learn along the way.
So not like a personality trait that's set in stone,
Yeah,
more like something you can develop.
exactly. Like a muscle you can work out.
Gotcha. But before we jump into the whole how-to thing, maybe we should start with the basics. What exactly is self-confidence?
Good point. It's not just about feeling good, right? It's deeper than that. It's about truly believing in yourself. Like trusting your own abilities, your decisions, knowing you can handle what life throws at you.
And bouncing back when things go wrong.
Right. It's like your inner guide, your compass, leading you through all the ups and downs.
I like that, the inner guide. You know, you mentioned trusting our decisions, that judgment part. For some people, isn't that even harder than having the skills? Like trusting your gut even when you're unsure.
Oh, absolutely. It's like having faith in how you make choices. Even if you mess up, you know you can learn from it. And this is where that whole muscle thing comes in again. The more we use that confidence muscle by making decisions, taking action, and seeing what happens, the stronger it gets.
Like practice makes perfect.
Pretty much. But let's be honest, there are those things, those inner voices that totally try to sabotage us.
Mm.
The confidence killers.
Ugh, tell me about it. We've all got those, right?
Yeah, those negative thoughts that keep us from even trying. And the worst one, negative self-talk. It's like this constant stream of criticism in your head, chipping away at your self-belief.
It's crazy how powerful those thoughts can be.
It really is. And guess what? Science actually backs this up.
Really? What have they found?
Well, there are studies using fMRI scans that show how negative self-talk affects our brains, like literally rewires them.
No way.
Yeah, it strengthens the pathways in the amygdala. That's the part of the brain that handles fear and anxiety.
So the more we put ourselves down, the more our brains are on high alert, even when there's nothing to be scared of.
Exactly. It's like we're training our brains to be afraid. And speaking of fear, another huge confidence killer is the fear of failing.
Oh, that's a big one. It's like we're so terrified of messing up that we end up not even trying new things. We play it safe, stay in our comfort zones.
And then we miss out on amazing experiences, right?
Totally.
But the thing is, everyone fails sometimes. It's a part of life. And more importantly, it's how we learn and grow. Think of it as feedback, valuable information that helps us get better.
I love that perspective. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about learning from it.
Right. It's about having a growth mindset, believing that we can always improve, that our abilities aren't set in stone.
Like we're not stuck with what we've got, we can always get better.
Exactly. And studies show that people with a growth mindset are more resilient, more likely to embrace challenges, and more likely to succeed.
That's awesome. So we've talked about those confidence killers. What about building actual confidence? What can we do to boost that muscle? And this is where I get excited.
Me too. Let's get practical.
Okay, first up, positive self-talk. If negativity rewires our brains for fear, then positive self-talk can do the opposite, right?
You got it. It's not just about saying nice things to yourself. It's about really focusing on your strengths, your accomplishments, and all the amazing things you can do.
So instead of, I can't do this, it's more like, I'm going to give it my best shot.
Exactly. And the more you do this, the more you strengthen those positive pathways in your brain.
Okay, I'm already feeling a little more confident just talking about this. What else can we do to build that confidence muscle?
Another great one is focusing on your strengths. Sometimes we get so caught up in what we're not good at that we forget about all the amazing things we are good at.
That's so true. It's like we're programmed to focus on the negative.
And the funny thing is, research shows that focusing on our strengths can actually create this awesome cycle. When we appreciate what we're good at, it boosts our self-esteem, which makes us more confident to try new things.
It's not about being arrogant or ignoring areas where we need to improve. It's about recognizing and using our strengths to build a strong foundation for our confidence.
Exactly. Which leads us to another important one, taking risks. Now, I'm not talking about doing something crazy or dangerous.
Right.
It's about taking calculated risks. Things that push you a little outside your comfort zone help you grow.
This reminds me of when I decided to teach that public speaking workshop. I was so scared, but I did it anyway. And you know what? It ended up being one of the best things I ever did.
Isn't it amazing how often we avoid risks because we're afraid? But then when we actually do it, it's like this huge confidence booster.
And let's be real, being nervous is normal.
Yeah.
It means you're actually pushing your boundaries and trying new things.
I love that way of looking at it. It's like, if you're not a little scared, you're probably not growing.
Exactly. So we've talked about positive self-talk, focusing on our strengths and taking those calculated risks. But what about the people around us? Can they impact our confidence?
Absolutely. It's so important to surround yourself with the right people.
It's like that saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah, exactly. If you're always around negativity, criticism, or people who don't believe in you, it's going to chip away at your confidence.
It's like having those confidence killers in person all the time.
But on the other hand, if you surround yourself with supportive, encouraging people who believe in you, it can be so uplifting.
It's all about being mindful of who we let into our inner circle,
Mhm.
right? Making sure those relationships help us grow and become our best selves.
Exactly. Speaking of growth and becoming your best self, I wanted to mention something that might be really helpful for our listeners. There's this great ebook called Ebook Name.
I've heard great things about it.
Yeah, it goes even deeper into everything we're talking about today. It's full of practical exercises and advice on how to overcome self-doubt and those negative thoughts. And it shows you how to create a more empowered life for yourself.
That sounds amazing, like having a personal confidence coach right in your pocket.
Exactly. And the best part is we have a special deal just for our listeners. If you use the link in the episode description, you can get $20 off.
Awesome. So if you're feeling inspired and ready to take that next step, be sure to check it out. Now let's get back to our discussion. Let's talk about a big confidence obstacle that even super successful people face. Imposter syndrome.
Oh, imposter syndrome. It's that sneaky feeling, like you don't belong, like you're not good enough, even when you have all this evidence that you are.
It's like that little voice that whispers, you're a fraud. They're going to find out.
Haha, yeah. And it doesn't matter how much you achieve or how experienced you are, it can hit anyone. And the thing is, it often comes from these deep-seated beliefs about whether we deserve good things.
So it's not just about our skills or accomplishments. It's about how we see ourselves deep down.
Right. And that's what makes it so hard to deal with. It's not just about learning new thing or reaching goals. It's about challenging those core beliefs that are holding us back.
So how do we fight back against imposter syndrome? How do we quiet that inner critic?
First, just admit it exists. Know that you're not alone in feeling this way. Tons of people, especially high achievers, struggle with it.
It's like realizing, okay, I'm not crazy. Other people feel this way too.
Exactly. And once you've done that, start challenging those imposter thoughts. One really helpful tip is to keep a success journal.
Ooh, what's that?
It's simple. Just write down all your accomplishments, big or small. It's like creating a record of your achievements that you can look at when those doubts start creeping in.
I love that idea. It's so easy to downplay our wins, but this forces us to really own them.
And when those imposter voices do show up, and trust me, they will, try to see them as opportunities to learn and grow.
Instead of thinking I'm a failure, it's more like, okay, I'm feeling insecure right now, but that's part of the process.
Right. It's about focusing on progress, not perfection.
Makes sense.
Mm.
So how do we go from feeling like imposters to actually embracing our potential? What does that journey look like?
It's about getting to know yourself better, challenging those limiting beliefs, and learning to be kinder to yourself. It's about knowing you're worthy no matter what you achieve.
It's like saying, I am enough just as I am.
Exactly. And one of the best ways to do this is through self-compassion, treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend.
So instead of beating ourselves up for mistakes, we support and encourage ourselves.
Exactly. And research shows that self-compassion helps us become more resilient, happier, and even healthier. It's like giving ourselves permission to be human, to make mistakes, and still believe in our worth.
I love that. This whole conversation has been so insightful. We've talked about what confidence really is, those sneaky confidence killers, and even some practical ways to build real, lasting self-belief.
And don't forget about that awesome ebook we mentioned, Ebook Name. It goes even deeper into all of this and gives you even more tools to overcome self-doubt and create a more empowered life.
It's like the ultimate guide to unleashing your potential. And remember, you can snag it for $20 off using the link in the episode description.
Definitely check it out if you're ready to take that next step.
Now, before we dive into how vulnerability can actually boost our confidence, let's take a moment to reflect. What are some of the key takeaways that really hit home for you? What are you excited to try out in your own life?
What resonated with you? What felt helpful or inspiring?
That whole confidence as a muscle thing really clicked for me. It
Yeah,
makes it feel so much more achievable, like it's not some magical quality, it's something you can actually work on.
it really puts you in the driver's seat. And for me, the self-compassion thing was big.
Oh, me
I
too.
just feel so much kinder than constantly beating yourself up for not being perfect,
Oh,
really.
totally. So, we've talked about the foundations of confidence, those sneaky things that try to hold us back, and even some practical strategies for building it up.
Hmm.
But I have a question, and it might sound a little weird.
Go for it.
What about vulnerability? Like, how does that fit into confidence? It seems like the opposite, right?
That's a great question. Lots of people think that to be confident, you have to hide your flaws and act tough.
Like, put on a brave face even when you're freaking out inside.
Exactly. But you know what? Research actually shows that being vulnerable can actually help you build real confidence.
Whoa, seriously? That's surprising.
I know, right? But think about it. When we try to act perfect all the time, like we've got it all together, it's kind of fake, right? It's a facade. And underneath, we're still worried about being
It's
exposed.
like building a house on sand.
Exactly. Sooner or later, it's going to crumble. But when we're open about our struggles, our weaknesses, even our fears, it's like we're being real, authentic.
Hmm.
And that can be so much more powerful.
Because it takes the pressure off, right?
Right, and it lets people connect with you on a deeper level. They see that you're human, just like them. Studies show that this kind of authentic connection builds trust, makes relationships stronger, and can even lead to better teamwork and creativity.
Wow. So instead of isolating ourselves with our insecurities, we can actually use them to build stronger bonds with others.
Exactly. It's about remembering that we're all in this together. We all have things we struggle with, things that make us feel vulnerable. And when we share those things, we create a more supportive and compassionate world.
This is making me think of that quote, what makes you vulnerable makes you beautiful.
Love that. It's those imperfections, those cracks that show our real strength.
This has been so eye-opening. We've gone from the ABCs of confidence to this deeper connection with vulnerability. And I think what I'm taking away from all of this is that real confidence isn't about hiding who we are or pretending we're perfect. It's about embracing all of ourselves, the good and the bad, and having the courage to just be
You
ourselves.
said it perfectly. And remember, this journey of self-discovery and building confidence, it's not a one-time thing, it's ongoing.
There will be setbacks, right? Times when we doubt ourselves, when it feels like we're going backwards.
Absolutely, it's normal. But the key is to keep going, keep learning, and keep believing in yourself.
Don't give up.
And hey, if you're looking for some extra help along the way, remember that awesome ebook we talked about, the ebook name?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's jam-packed with practical tips and insights to help you overcome self-doubt and create a more empowered life.
It's like having a personal guide on your confidence journey. And you can grab it for $20 off using the link in the episode description.
Definitely worth checking out. Now, to wrap things up, I want to leave you with something to think about. We've talked about believing in yourself, but where's the line between confidence and arrogance? How do we make sure we're not being cocky or putting others down?
That's a really good question. It's like finding that sweet spot where we believe in ourselves without needing to prove anything to anyone else.
What do you think? How do we strike that balance?
Yeah, it's tricky, right?
It is. I think it comes down to knowing you're good at things without needing to shout it from the rooftops.
Being secure in yourself, but not putting others down.
Exactly. True confidence comes from knowing yourself, not from inflating your ego.
So it's not about being better than everyone else.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing our own worth while respecting the worth of others.
Absolutely. It's about working together, realizing that everyone has something to offer. And you know what else plays a big part? Humility.
Humility. How so?
When you're humble, you can admit you don't know everything. You're open to learning, growing, even asking for help when you need it.
That makes sense. It's like being open to new possibilities, new ways of seeing things.
Right. And that's how we keep learning and developing.
So real confidence isn't just about feeling good about ourselves. It's about humility, vulnerability, and truly believing in who we are. It's about being our authentic selves, flaws and all, and recognizing that everyone has something special to offer.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And remember, building confidence is a journey. There will be times when you doubt yourself, face challenges, and need to remind yourself of everything we've talked about today.
It's not a straight line to confidence. It's more like a winding path.
Exactly. But the important thing is to keep practicing, keep learning, and never stop believing in yourself.
And if anyone out there is looking for some extra support on this journey, remember that ebook we mentioned, ebook name.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's full of practical exercises and advice to help you overcome self-doubt and really step into your power.
Like a toolbox for building unshakable confidence.
And don't forget, you can get it for $20 off with the link in the episode description.
Definitely take advantage of that.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into confidence. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope this has given you some valuable insights and inspiration.
Remember, you are capable of amazing things. Trust yourself, embrace your strengths, and never stop growing.
Until next time, shine bright and keep believing in your incredible potential.